Hey guys, hello, 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 and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. This is ASMR Remedy, and I post new ASMR content whenever it fits into my schedule. So today I'm gonna just be doing a little get ready with me. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and I'm working later at the bar that I work at. I grabbed a fresh little mini can for a little afternoon pick-me-up. It's about 2:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. I don't go into work until 6, but I have some schoolwork to do, so I figured if I just get ready now, then I can work up until when I have to leave, and I don't have to worry about getting ready. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna talk a little bit about my work history. I didn't think about this beforehand of what stories I wanted to tell or anything, but I've worked a lot of different jobs. So I figured it would be entertaining to talk about the different jobs I've had, and then I promise I've gotten a couple requests to talk, to tell bartending stories, and I promise I will do that, but I just need to sit and think about what stories I want to tell. I also have a mirror right here, so I'll be using that to help me put my makeup on. But yeah, so it's hard to talk and put makeup on and show you guys what products I'm using, but I'm gonna try my best because I'm kind of just doing my everyday. So what I just put on is, can you see it? It's the Naturium UV Reflect Antioxidant SPF 50 sheer sunscreen, and I'm guessing because of the weather where I live that I'll be working out on the patio a lot tonight, so gotta put my SPF on pretty much anytime I'm going outside, and I'm gonna be outside other than just in my car. I wear this stuff, but let that kind of settle in for a second. So, my very first job was at an O'Charlie's restaurant. I don't know if they have them where you are, but it's basically just a traditional chain restaurant. It's nothing special and exciting. I worked there as a host and busser, and they did free pie Wednesdays. I think free pie Tuesdays or free pie Wednesdays. It was 10 years ago that I worked there, but and so sometimes on that night I would work in the kitchen, and it was literally just my job to plate all of the pie. They called me Pie Bitch, lovingly. Isn't that sweet? But that was my first job, and that was an interesting job for sure. And then I also very briefly worked at Hot Topic. I worked at Hot Topic during, I was there seasonally, and then I also worked at Hollister, which I think one of my very first videos ever on this channel is a Hollister story time, which I made in 2017, I think. 2016? Man, I don't know. I still lived at home. So 2016 maybe. Anyways, that was crazy. Just because, like, I don't know. Personally, I hated working retail, and I much preferred working in food service. Everybody obviously feels differently, but I am just way more of a food service girly. I like the fast paced. And I like that your money is based on your tips, so if you're good at your job, you can make more. Versus retail, there's like no incentive to be any good at your job. You know, and so that makes the workplace just a different vibe. And retail is so boring. So I've worked a few retail jobs, but I am just a food service girly. I've also nannied quite a lot for quite a few families, which has its pros and cons. That what I just used was the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow. It's just like a base. I'm in the shade 1.5 light medium, and then this is the Instant Age Rewind Eraser by Maybelline, which I use in the shade 115. So I've nannied a lot for all different ages, from like, 2 years old all the way up through like a young teen. So that's been something. I'm really good with kids, and I really like kids. But a lot of times the issues I had with those jobs were actually just the parents. And if you don't like the parents, or if the parents are difficult to work with, then it's tough. I actually had a family, the last family that I worked for most recently, I mean still not super recent, but most recently, I liked them. I liked the kids, I liked the location, but these parents always forgot to pay me. And I constantly had to remind them, like days later, I had to ask them to send me the money, and that is just like not acceptable. I get parents are busy and whatever, and you can forget every once in a while, but it was every time, and it's like, you should pay me before I even leave the house. That was so frustrating to me. Like, and it made me not even want to do it, because I didn't even know if I would get my money that day, So I also had parents I worked for one time that they had a pool. They also, I loved where they lived. They had a lot of land, and so they had like woods and like a creek in the property back behind their house. And so it was really fun. I worked for them in like a warm time of year. And so I would take the kids outside, and we would like just go hiking, or like there was this like field by their house, and I showed the kids how to make like flower crowns, and we would pick flowers, and it was really fun. I really liked the kids, and they had a pool. Sometimes I would get in the pool with the kids, or sometimes I would just sit like on the patio, and just like walk like right next to the pool and watch them. But what was crazy to me is the mom of the kids. So she like worked from home, which I can tell you, it's really hard to babysit. It's hard to take care of children when the parents are there, because the children know the parents are there. And so they like, all they want is to see their parents, and it's different when they know their parents aren't there, if that makes sense. Like, it's easier to keep them away, I guess. By the way, that was the NYX Mineral Matte Finishing Powder in light medium. But it was just like, the mom worked from home, and the mom's sister, who she was close with, would bring over her kids. So I took care of 2 kids, And then the aunt would bring her 2 kids, and then they would be in the pool. And now all of a sudden I am responsible for 4 kids in the pool. And the son, like the aunt's son, so not the kid that I was supposed to take care of, but the aunt's son, he was like really rambunctious, and like, I don't want to say he wasn't nice, but he was just a lot more rough. And so the little kids that I was responsible for were younger and just like a little bit more sensitive, and they were not like rough housers. And so I felt like there would always be like a fighting when these older kids were there that was not present when it was just the kids I was supposed to take care of. And so that became honestly like really difficult. And then the one time they had like a neighbor's kid come over and not tell me, and I'd be responsible for like 5-6 kids in a pool by myself. And that's like dangerous. Like I was not, and I wasn't being paid any extra to take care of literally double or triple the amount of children. And it just like was not cool. And I'd brought it up to the mom before, that I was just like, this is like, I don't remember how I said it, but I know I was polite, professional, whatever, and like just the job didn't end up working out, because I was like, I'm not providing childcare services to whoever. Like, that was really frustrating, and I felt like it was like, I don't know, it felt like rude almost, like I was being taken advantage of. So, and I had taken care of enough kids and been worked for enough families to know better. But I love those kids. I'm still friends with the mom on Facebook. And I, whatever. I really like the kids a lot. And then there's another family I nannied for that, this actually made me really sad. So it was the last family I nannied before I went to law school. And so a lot of you guys know that I moved out of state to go to law school. And so I was working there, and I was also bartending at the time, pretty much as always. I pretty much never have just one job at a time. But I was also bartending, and I was working for this family. It was one little girl, and the mom was pregnant, and it was a high-risk pregnancy, and she also didn't work. So she'd be home a lot, but she'd also like run errands or like, do whatever. And the little girl was really young, maybe 3, 4? 3. Yeah, 3, I think. Maybe even 2. She was little. She still wore diapers. And she was a wonderful, wonderful little girl. Cutest little girl. We had so much fun. We would go for walks, play in the backyard. Like, I really liked this kid. Okay, and I really liked the parents a lot. They were really good to me. But so the other, the mom, when she went on like bed rest, basically, because of her high risk pregnancy, she was going to be going on bed rest. And for the summer, she had essentially asked me if I would be willing to work full time in the home, basically all the time that her husband was at work, because she wouldn't be able to lift her child because of her current pregnancy. Real quick, this is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio brow tint pen in medium brown that I just used. So she asked me if I would want to work full time. I was super excited. I put in my notice at the restaurant I was working at, and I was really excited. We agreed to a rate. It would basically be perfect timing with when I had to move back, with when I had to move for school, to when I would kind of no longer be needed, because she was going to be having the baby. So her mom was going to be like around when she was having the baby, and so it would be perfect time. And then I remember I went on a vacation, and the mom texted me while I was on vacation and basically said, hey, like, sorry for the inconvenience, but I talked to my mom and she's actually just gonna move in here, so I won't need you at all anymore. And I was like heartbroken, because I loved this family. I had just basically like secured a job for the summer full time, and that I wasn't gonna have to worry about anything. And that was so disappointing. I was so bummed, but I still am friends with the mom on social media and get to see the little girl that I took care of and their other child that was born after I left. And you know, but yeah, that was really sad, and it is hard to leave kids that have grown attached to you, and like I grew attached to them. So the job that I had for the longest and was my most like full-time serious job was I worked at a chain restaurant. By the way, this is Rare Beauty, the liquid blush, the dewy formula, and Hope. Okay, so I worked for a more upscale chain restaurant. I'm not going to say the name of it because I have so many good stories to eventually share with you guys about this place. And it's finally been long enough of not working there that I feel comfortable sharing these stories, because I wanted to years ago and it just didn't feel appropriate yet. So I worked at this chain restaurant, and I was working there. I started out as a server, and I was working there full time. This was during the period of time when I dropped out of school. A lot of y'all might not remember this, but this is when I dropped out of college, which we now know was actually just a little tiny break. But I dropped out, and so I was working there full time, and that was like my gig. And I don't always do this. I don't know why I'm doing it right now. I mean, often I don't, so I don't know why I decided to do this today, but we're just going with it. This is the NYX Jumbo eye pencil. It's the white one. Anyways. So, I was working there full time as a server, and then I got promoted into bartending, and then I got promoted up into kind of like assistant managing. They had a different title for it there, but basically like before that I was promoted to like, it was called like head waiter, and I would just be in charge of some shit during my shift, and then at the end of my shift I would clock into a different like hourly job code, and I would sit in the office and I would deal with a lot of the financial stuff. And then I was doing like assistant managing, where I was basically like, for like 1 or 2 shifts a week, I would come in and like sort of run the shift, basically. And this is all like over. I worked there for like 1.5 years. And lots of interesting coworkers and characters there. Again, lots of interesting stories, but I'm really grateful for that job in a lot of ways, because I met a lot of great people, and it was during a time in my life where I needed that job, in not just financially, but I don't know if that makes sense, but I needed that role in my life. And it's funny because the reason I decided to go back to school is because there were discussions of them needing a new manager, and I was just sort of like in the running for people they were considering. And basically word came out of what they were paying, and once I found out what they were going to pay like a full-time salary manager, I went home and started filling out college applications, because I was not about to get sort of suckered into working for the amount of money that they were offering, like full time. But it's different than being salary, you know. I had a lot more control over my financial situation when I didn't have a salary. So yeah, one of my old managers from that job was one of my references for law school. So, and even for the bar itself. So that was really cool. To like have that, I guess. So it was really important. And again, I had it at a time in my life when I really needed that job. And, so then segue, I've skipped a ton. Like I delivered for Pizza Hut. I drove for Uber. I've driven for DoorDash. I worked at UPS for 5 seconds. I worked some jobs like at my college. There's a bunch of random jobs that I've had. If it exists, I've probably done it. Very entrepreneurial, very, I was always finding ways to make money because I always needed money. I always needed money bad. So anyways, basically, I went to law school, which I'm still in law school for a very, very short period of time. And my first job that I got once I moved here to my current city, I started working at a specialty, like stationery, pen type of store. Me and my coworkers just called it the paper store. But yeah, started doing that. Also, sorry, this is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Rose Quartz. And this is just a Sephora brand highlighter brush. I also just realized my eyebrows aren't even, so I'm gonna fix that. Sorry, this video is kind of a mess, but it is what it is. It's because it's starting to get hot, and I hate being hot. And it's making me crazy. I'm gonna have to literally turn the air on in April. Who would have thought? So anyways, that's better. Anyways, so I started working at the paper store, and I worked there my whole first year of law school. Basically loved it. I loved it. The only reason I quit is because the boss was like a little bit crazy pants, and she tried to say like, oh, everybody has to work Saturdays. But I'd been working, it was either Saturdays or Sundays, I don't remember. But I worked one of the other ones. So like I worked one full weekend day. I think I worked Sundays because I opened and closed the store by myself. Like I was there the entire day, just me. And she basically mandated this new rule that everybody had to work Saturdays. And I was like, I don't work Saturdays. I've never worked Saturdays. I've worked here for almost a year. And there was another employee who did not work Saturdays who was in college. And I was like, if she doesn't work Saturdays, why do I have to? And it just became like, I just put my notice in and left. And my very good friend, who I'm still friends with, was the manager there. I became friends with her because she was manager there. And she left the company and was not on good terms. And so it was just sort of like a matter of time after she left before I decided to go. So, but I did love working there, and I really liked the discount. It definitely began an expensive hobby for me. So, worked there, and then I started my first law job a couple summers ago. I worked for a very, very small law firm, and the attorney that I worked for in the law firm did personal injury plaintiff's work. So basically a lot of like car accidents, the reason I wanted to work there was because they did a lot of medical malpractice and like vaccine injuries. And I thought with the COVID vaccine and stuff that getting into vaccine injury litigation would be really useful. And it was interesting to me. I wasn't there very long because, as I believe I've discussed before, and I can discuss this in more detail, I was actually academically dismissed from my law school. And I got academically dismissed only a few weeks or maybe a month after working at that job. And basically I needed to figure that out and petition the law school to be able to return for my second year. And my boss basically was like, hey, you know, you can't really continue to work here if you're not a law student, and you need to kind of figure this out. So like he let me go, but it was mutual. Like it didn't make sense for me to continue to work there at that time. So I hadn't been there maybe 6 weeks. I was there for less than 2 months before it just, because of getting kicked out of the law school and everything going on with the trial, it just didn't work out. So for the rest of that summer, I didn't work at all, which again, it's literally the first time that I ever didn't have a job. I think ever, other than COVID when I got laid off, and even then I was still like Ubering and stuff. So that was tough, for sure. Also, the eyeshadow I just used is a sample, a Natasha Denona sample from Sephora, and it's in the shade Safari, and I use this Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. I don't usually wear this much makeup on a daily basis, but I'm working tonight, so that's why I'm going a little bit heavier, I guess. So, then in the fall semester of my second year of law school, once I had been reinstated to the law school after a tremendous amount of effort on my part, I was reinstated, and then I got a job working in-house for a large healthcare corporation on their legal team. And so basically what I was doing was contract evaluation with big companies, and guess what? It is actually more boring and mind-numbing than it sounds. Even worse than it sounds. I stayed at that job for the entire school year, and my wings are so different. Shit. Shoot. Let me see if I can kind of finagle this one a little bit. Okay. Guys, I'm not a makeup artist. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. So anyways, I worked there, and the job was so mindless and boring that, I mean, I probably should have stayed there because the money was good, and nobody really cared what I did. Like, it was the easiest job ever, but it was, I was losing my mind working there, truly. And that's the Maybelline Master Precise All Day Liquid Liner in black. So that was just not the vibe at all. Not the vibe, even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So I quit that job, and I got a summer position last summer working for an estates and trusts very, 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 very small firm downtown. When I say very small, I mean one attorney, it was her name on the firm. There were like 3 other employees that worked there, but they all worked remotely, except I wasn't allowed to work remotely. I had to be in the office. And so it was just me and her, and sometimes she wouldn't even come, so it was literally just me. I didn't love that job, to be honest. It just wasn't like a great fit for me. I really liked the woman a lot that ran it, and that was my boss, but it wasn't for me. And I really thought that I wanted to do estate law. And to be honest, I still would at some point, like, really strongly consider it. I would strongly consider it at some point. But, yeah. I also will say that in the spring, so last year, over a year ago, I started working at the bar that I currently work at, which is downtown in the city that I live in. And It's a gay bar. I love working there a lot. I love the people. I currently only pick up shifts. I don't work there regularly anymore. Just with school and everything, it doesn't make sense for me to continue to work there, but I pick up shifts when I have the time / when I like who's working. So I started working there, been there ever since. For a while I was working full time there, and again, I really like working there. So anyways, after I finished that legal job last summer, I did not work a legal job at all this past fall. All I did was bartend at my current job and just, you know, I made plenty of money doing that, and it was nice to take a break from law-related stuff because I'd done 3 already. And then in the fall, I started interviewing for post-grad jobs. I also need to touch up my eyeliner again. I managed to just work that, and then I was doing a lot of interviews for post-grad job offers. As you guys know, I am graduating from law school in about a month. So I needed to secure something for after that, and I did a ton of interviews. A ton of interviews, seriously. And this is getting like a little bit dry. I need another one. And I finally got an offer that I accepted in January, and he actually was like, hey, do you want to start working part-time now to train and just work as an intern and make sure it's a good fit and all of that? And so I did. I started working there in January part-time. It is a government job. I will be working for the government. I'll probably talk more about it in a future video when I talk about law school and sort of what brought me to law school, because it's connected to this job. And I have been working part-time there since January, and I will be working there full-time as an attorney in the fall. So I'll graduate in May and then take a couple of months to study for the bar exam. I take the bar exam. Oh, my eyeliner is killing me. I'll take the bar exam in the very end of July, take a couple weeks off at the beginning of August, and then hit the ground running. Sorry about the hiccups. This is the NYX Dewy Finish Makeup Setting Spray, 16 hour. I don't know about that, but I didn't put bronzer on or anything because it's just hot out and I wanted to limit my face makeup here, so. And I'll probably put on just like a tinted lip balm when I actually get ready to go to work. But basically, yeah, that's what's up. I've got a full-time job offer for Big Girl to use my law degree, to use my Juris Doctor, which I will have in, I think, commencement's in 35 days or something like that. And by something like that, I mean it's in 35 days, so it's all very exciting. I've done a lot of different crazy jobs in my lifetime, and I'm excited for this job that I have now, and see how that changes and see what comes next. And yeah, here's my final look. It's nothing exciting, it's just going to work. And if you guys are still watching, comment the worst or like wackiest job that you've ever had. I hope that you guys are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.